to do first is we're going to go to the banding station and we have a few birds so you can see that process. So when you're at the banding station or near any of the nets.
So what I'm going to do first is I use this book, The Pile, and it has a lot of information about all different bird species in North America. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up the gnatcatcher, and so according to this, so each bird, as you can guess, so birds all have different size legs, right? So we're going to make sure all birds have different band sizes. So these guys, they have pretty tiny legs, but I'm going to double check its band size. So this guy gets a 0A. Two 060, and next 5 are 83670.
We're gonna look at the wings.
Yeah, so we're gonna look at it's not molting any of its primaries or secondaries or tail feathers. So I don't know if you guys can see. But there's little pins all around.
Because when she blows on the feathers, what happens is the feathers lay in rows, so when she blows on them, they're going to move, and you're going to be able to see down to those, she said, the skin, or down to those pin feathers. Now she's going to be looking at the skull. What happens is, it's kind of interesting to describe. It's similar to the way a baby has a soft spot on his skull. Okay, birds, when they're young, only have one layer, but as they grow a little bit older, they grow another layer of skull. So what she's looking at is to see how far along that bird is. Does it have 2 complete layers, and they know that it's an adult, or is it still growing in that second layer?
And so what I saw is this bird is still growing in its second layer, so that tells me that this bird is a baby. So that means this bird, this is why its tail is so stumpy looking. And we can see it has a lot of, it doesn't have so much, but it's a baby bird. It's very crappy looking. Which means
Talk about molting at all?
No, no, not so much.
Okay, so you know when birds are growing in their feathers, it's called molting, right? When they lose their feathers and grow their feathers. So that's what this bird is doing right now, which is why he looks kind of funny. He's starting to get his adult plumage, and so that's why his tail is all stumpy.
And so when juvenile birds are growing their feathers, they're growing them in really fast. And so based on that, we can usually tell, because adult birds are actually going to take the time to grow in their feathers. And so we can see the differences between juvenile and adult feathers because of that. And this bird has a lot of juvenile feathers.
So why would the younger birds need to grow their feathers really quick, all at once? So they can fly, right? Because they're getting ready to migrate. So they need those adult feathers so that they can make the migration.
Okay.
What was that you just put on?
So this bird, so when birds are molting, they have pin feathers, and it means the feather has a blood supply to it. And so sometimes in the net can sort of start to break away the pin feather a little early. And so this bird, its pin feather just ruptured a little bit, so I just put a little bit of styptic powder on to stop the bleeding. But the bird is completely fine. A lot of times, even when they're flying around, their pins will break and they'll just bleed a little bit. And then once the feather is grown in, the blood supply will stop. And then the feathers are just like hair, so you can so when they lose their feathers, it doesn't hurt. It's just part of life. And then, so this bird is an eastern bluebird. And so the banding code for that is EABL. And then, are you guys ready for the band number? So this bird has a different size band. So the band number is a different string of numbers. So each band number has a different string. So this is not going to be in the same order as the last one. So this band number is 2441. $517.99. And so $7.99, that means I'm almost at the end of my strand of 1B, so I'm going to have to start a new one soon. So wing cord is 95 millimeters. And then the tail is going to be really tiny. It has a tail about the size of a nuthatch. Alright, tail is 35. This bird has a lot of body molt. It doesn't have any fat. And this bird has some wing molt going on. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm going to look and see which wing feathers it's molting. And so with birds, their primaries are numbered. So the primaries are the outermost white feathers, and then these are the secondaries. So we look. So the primaries are numbered from the outer end, so I can count down and say 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so it looks like at primaries 8 and 9 are growing in. And then I know with thrushes, oh no. So with thrushes and bluebirds, their primary 10 is this tiny little feather, so it would be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So these are all its primaries. And then it's missing one of its secondaries, but it's molting in secondaries 1, 2, and 3 right now. And it's tertials. So the outermost secondary is right here, and the innermost, we call these tertials because they're special looking. Okay. So actually, I think since this bird has a lot of younger birds, they won't grow in. So they'll grow in their primaries and secondaries once, and then they'll just molt a couple of their body feathers in the fall. But since this bird is actually molting in its wing feathers, I'm thinking this might be an older bird. So I'm going to read up in this book and see what kind. So with molt, every bird species that's a different molt, and so we can tell by the type of molt it's doing sometimes what age it is as well. Let's see. And so since this book is saying that hatchier birds will molt in some of their body feathers and some of their these feathers that are on top of the primaries and secondaries are called coverts, so it says it molts in some of its coverts. So based on this, that it's undergoing a wing molt right now, even though it's pretty crappy looking, that just means it's feathers. It's replacing all these feathers and getting some new ones. So this bird is an older bird actually. So the age of this bird is after hatch year. So every time I write down the age, I write down how I aged that bird. So I aged that bird because it's molting in its white feathers. And then, since this bird doesn't have a lot of blue on it, let's see. And so based on the fact, see how brown this bluebird is? I'm pretty sure based on that this is a female. So female by plumage. And its weight is 30.5 grams.
tell them why you're taking pictures?
Yeah, so for bird banding, one of the main reasons that we do bird banding, and it's a really good way to census the bird populations of the area, but you can also do that by doing a point count or listening to the birds. But the really cool thing about bird banding is that we can get demographic information on the birds. And so what I'm doing is I'm helping improve demographic information by looking at other aging techniques for birds. And I have a hypothesis that a lot of different birds can be aged by eye color. However, it's not often looked at. So what I'm doing is I'm taking pictures of every bird that I catch. I take pictures of their eye color, and then I run analyses on my computer. And I've already been finding that a lot of different birds, you can tell differences between hatch-year birds, so the baby birds, and the after-hatching-year birds, or the adult birds. And you can see noticeable differences in the eye color, where the adults have a lot more reddish and a lot nicer eyes. So this bird is all done being processed. So
You don't let him go?
yeah, we'll let him go now.
So what they do is you put it on the hand and you let it fly.
And so, who has any guesses as the species? He's a feisty little guy.
Got a black cap.
Black cat.
There we go. Black cap chickadee in the back row.
Yeah, black
Yeah.
cap chickadee. So the species code for this bird is BCCH. And so, do you guys know how the species codes work?
There, some birds like freak out and grab all the that they can. And the bander comes and takes it out and then they go back down. So, a nickel weighs 5 grams.
So it's pretty,
We
it's
have
pretty
12
close.
grams. How many nickels would you each have? See? We're getting math in here. Didn't know you were going to do math.
Alright, so you guys should know this bird. It's an easy one.
Rob.
Robin, good job. I like the way you
It's related to a robin.
It's a pretty blue color.
Blue jay.
It's not a blue jay.
Blue
Blue bird.
So this
Robin, I like it. Bryan.
This is an Easter. Alright. So, who remembers the last one? So, this is who remembers? Goldfinch, yes. So, we're going to see if this is the American. Is it the American though? So, let's check. So, this bird has yellow undertail coverts, which looks like lesser goldfinch to me. And it really doesn't have any white. And so with lesser goldfinches, the white is actually on the sides of the tail and it doesn't go all the way to the end. But I'm going to double check the wing cord.
So this one would be really cool if it's a lesser goldfinch because they're so small and they're really hard to see. And you're not going to see these in other parts of the state. Okay, so western Nebraska is where you're going to see this one and then a little bit farther to the west. And with this one, since it's so small, kind of have to work, not quickly, but they're really good actors and actresses, okay? They are like, oh, I'm so hurt. I think I have to fall asleep and I pretend like I'm dying type of thing, okay? And with these banding stations, of course it's our goal for the birds to go and live happy long lives and everything like that. So we want to make sure we don't stress them out too much. And we also want to make sure that they go and they migrate like they're supposed to. So that's our number one goal. We don't ever want to hurt any of these little birds.
Yeah, it's a lesser. So this is the lesser goldfinch, and so it's quite a bit smaller than the American goldfinch, which you guys just saw. So I'm going to give it a little bit smaller of a band. And you can see its wing bars aren't really as nice. The American goldfinch had really nice wing bars.
Guys and gals, well, if you guys want to come and sit on the sidewalk too in the shade, you can do that or just take
Try to get the release.
I feel it in the way.
And Geo. And this bird, when I sculled it, its skull was complete. So it's an after-hatchier bird. So this bird is an adult, it's not a baby. And so it has a lot of yellow on it, but see how it still has a lot of olive on the head and the crown. And if we look at the tail, There is some white in it, but it's not a lot. And so this is a female. This is an adult female goldfinch. Let's see. Didn't make this up. It's really quick, right?
It's not in a lot of places.
It's not.
West, eastern.
It's south.
Western.
It's west.
Just like that little avian
Yeah, so
corner.
it's only in like one little corner of Nebraska. So it's not in a lot of places. Now, I don't know if some of you have started reading, but mountain plovers, they like really short grasses and fields. Okay, so maybe kind of a grassy area like this, or short grass prairies. But what they've also figured out is that plowed fields are also kind of a good substitute.
Okay. Record.
Anyway.
You looked at me?
Will you hand me my pencil?
Wait, what?
What Bryan.
Why do you like it?
How come they can plow it over, we can't shoot them?
That's Ashton.
Ashton, I think you're going to be voted off the island. For real though.
That is bull.
Off the
Let's see.
She can plow over.
Okay.
Crushing them. I'm putting them down.
Okay, Louise, your group.
Let's see. What they said, they were just gonna like basically kill the birds. I mean, you don't want to do that because the birds are going extinct.
No, they're not all in one field.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Look at my script. They're not in all one field.
What if they are? You never know.
All right, if
What
you're
if
not
that's one that
if you're
field?
not a commercial farmer, keep
Yeah.
your thoughts until it's your turn.
I'm a commercial farmer.
We know either way. Yes, and
Sound like you had some.
Okay,
Arguments.
got this. Talk about plowing them over. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, what they said that we don't have time. That's time taking us if we have to search for the nest.
Why are you looking at me?
Really hard to see. So what they do is they drive around the fields to try to find the nests, and they flag them if the farmers have agreed to participate in the conservation project. And then the farmers are expected to plow around where the nests are. Now, it says in there that as long as the farmers avoid the nests, it doesn't really matter how far away from the nest they plow. So some farmers only get within a few inches, and other farmers give them a couple feet of space. Because as long as they run the nests over, the eggs will still be fine. So
Used to interpret the range. And then also it provides information like
Guys, listen.
a common name. It provides a scientific name. It provides go around and make sure we don't all have the same bird. Okay?
I already picked mine. Done.
So.
A little different, aren't they? A little bit. Flying in, going out. I want one of these from the classroom. No.
I'm videoing me, Bryan.
What is this supposed to be?
What if I call you? It's a rabbit.